everyone, Chen here. We are at the shop in Seattle. We're hosting our first ever Type S Night Lights meet in the Pacific Northwest, and we decided to do it here. This place is a storage facility slash restaurant slash hobby shop slash basically a car destination.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things to a lot of different people. I mean, we've got a barber shop, tobacco shop, so you can smoke a cigar, get your hair cut, and then you can also go straight pipe your Corvette in the back. I mean, we've got a little bit of everything going on here.
It's literally called The Shop.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you're talking on the phone because a lot of people are like, well, what's the shop called? It's like, no, it's just The Shop, and that's about it. Certainly not very specific, but that kind of fits with the theme of our entire business model here. I mean, any type of car that people want to bring in, we don't have any sort of requirements. Basically, as long as people want to store to pay or pay to store them here, we're more than happy to bring it in.
Right, okay, so let's walk through. We're on the outside here. Here's our Type S booth that we're setting up. This is the restaurant. It's called Derby. This is really cool setup that you guys have. This is supposed to be like a parts tree for like a model car.
Basically, I mean, it's sort of like one of those kits that you get to build your own model car. It's all made out of actual Trans Am parts. And so that's been up here since before I got here. It's a local artist by the name of Duffy Legg. And so he does a lot of the artwork that you see up in our building. I know that we've got a couple of different artists who do them, but he's one of the main guys who's been here since we first started.
That is really neat. It's so crazy. It's all real metal parts.
Yeah. No, he's a huge car enthusiast. In fact, our owner every now and then goes out into Burning Man, and so he's helping him build his little art cart for it. I believe it's based off of a police trike. And I believe they're souping that up. It's got a crazy exhaust coming off of it right now. But yeah, this is one of definitely our centerpieces for the artwork we have here.
We're inside the shop now. This is the restaurant area. And then now you have the first car in here. Is this like a display or?
So this is actually one of our members' cars, 1977 Toyota Celica. It still actually has the original engine in there. Basically, the owner's actually in here eating food at the moment, but apparently it's just a family heirloom that she's sort of held on to. She does all the work herself. She brought it in probably about a month ago, and I know that she's ecstatic at the fact that we've got it out here tonight.
Oh, you just cycle it through?
Yeah, basically once a week we change out the car. We try to theme it after whatever meet we have coming up. So we just had a JDM car meet over the weekend, and then I think this next weekend we have a muscle car meet, so we'll try to put out our Shelby Cobra kit car. This is the members lounge. Basically, we're like a country club for gearheads. So we have the people come in, they can reserve stuff like these meeting and conference rooms, of course, very exciting, I know. But we got the TV set up, we got the bar in here that members can reserve for their own sort of parties, that sort of thing. Also, of course, our very fancy Keurig machine. But the last little main feature of the lounge is actually right through here. And this is the Hideaway Cigar Lounge and Poker Room, or the Speakeasy Room.
Wait, what? This is so cool.
So we're a country club. You can smoke tobacco products inside, although we only allow cigars, no cigarettes, weed, or vape. We allow the members to reserve the couches, poker table. We got these lockers available for rent, and then we got this red phone right here that you use to order food and drink from the restaurant. So that way you don't have to wait for a server.
No way, the red phone, that is too cool.
And then once it's done, they actually put it through the wall in this closet right here, ring the bell to let you know it's ready. You just grab it out, put it back in when you're done.
That is so neat.
Yeah, so this is actually what legally allows us to have this room in the building, so that way our staff doesn't get exposed to secondhand smoke.
Amazing.
Yeah, I've got to say, this room beats out the garage most days of the week for popularity. I mean, we have people that show up in the morning and stay until close.
Wow.
No way.
What a lounge.
Yeah. We also host a monthly poker night in there. We hire a dealer to just hang out in the room at the table from 5:30 to 8:30. $40 buy-ins, cash only. We got a regular group of about a dozen guys who come.
Look at that. That is so cool.
And I will say, I showed up not knowing how to play poker, and I made a whole $2, so I consider it a success. And then right through here is sort of the portal where all the fun happens. This is actually the welding and metal fabrication shop. We've got our fabricator, Elliot, here working on this Land Cruiser. Basically, the owner has two bodies. This is actually the better one of the two, and he's trying to combine two rusted out bodies into one fully functional vehicle. So Elliot's got his work cut out for him. I believe they're basically band-aiding the floor pan of this thing off of a separate vehicle.
Oh, that's the parts? So then, this is a full-fledged shop. Like, you could build a car from the ground up here.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the only things we don't do are paint and body work. But anything mechanical, anything related to metal, I mean, Elliot's a master of his craft. That's why we love having him on staff here. He also teaches free welding and metal fabrication classes to all of our members. So you can come in, learn the skills yourself. You don't necessarily have to pay him to do all the work for you. You can have him show you how to do it yourself, so that way you have the skills going forward.
So then, and then you have to be a member to have your car worked on here, though.
Yeah, you do have to be a member. Actually, Elliot's the one part of the business where whether you're a member or not, you can hire him. But for anything back here, we're using our service department is all member only, yeah.
Whoa, this is so cool. So then members can use these lifts?
Yeah. We have these lifts, again, free to book, free to reserve. Basically, the only time we charge you if you were to leave an oil slick in the lift and then just not let us know. Otherwise, we bring you the Sonic toolbox, sort of like a library. You bring us your ID, we hand you whatever tools you need, and then when you're done, we give them back, and then you're all set on the road.
What is this area? What is this? What are we looking at here?
So a lot of these cars right here are mainly ones that are in the queue for our service department. One of the exceptions is that Model T right there. It's actually the oldest car we have in the collection. But basically we got the lifts, and then on the other side of this wall we have our wash bays. So everything in here is free for our members to use. We got soap, water, and brushes available. We also supply some detailing products. We sell them up at the front desk, and then you're more than welcome to bring your own from home.
Any member, they can come in here and wash their car completely.
Oh yeah. You can also pay us to do it for you, but we found that a lot of our members like doing it themselves, especially when you have all the tools available to you.
So when you say service, you mean like oil changes and stuff?
Yeah,
or?
like oil changes, you want to replace your transmission. I mean, we don't tear apart the transmission, but we can fully take one out, put a new one in. One of the other things we allow our members to do is they can hire our service department to work on the car with you. We found that we have plenty of members that know how to take their cars apart. It's getting them put back together within a time frame that seems to be the harder part for most people.
How many full-time mechanics do you have on staff?
Right now we have 2. I believe we're trying to hire a 3rd one right now because it's starting to get backed up. A lot of people want to get work done. A blessing and a curse where we got a lot of work coming in, so we just need to basically keep growing the staff in order to accommodate.
Do you know how many cars you're able to store here?
Our maximum capacity is around 330. Right now, I'd say we're probably hovering around 290. Normally during the winter time when everything comes in for hibernation, these lanes fill up and we basically have our staff of valets playing Jenga with cars all day.
Yeah, because sometimes if it's a car that's really buried deep, it's gonna take quite a while to move all the cars.
Every now and then, yes, but typically we guarantee our members that no matter where it is in the garage, we can get it out in an hour or less. Our organization is sort of based on usage, so the more often you come in for your car, the more available it's gonna be. If it's the first time I've seen you in 2 years, though, that's when your car is gonna be all the way in the back up on top of a lift. And most members are pretty understanding about that.
And is that like a price difference? Like you pay more to be up front, or?
So the only price difference is if you want your car guaranteed to be kept in this garage that we're looking at right now. You can see the cars through the windows of the restaurant, and honestly, that's one of the biggest selling points. Other than that, this garage is heated, so during the winter, it does stay a little bit warmer. But otherwise, in the summer, you can see we keep the bay doors open to get a nice breeze going through here. And it's basically the same between the 2 garages. We treat the vehicles exactly the same. But however, having the car stored over here guarantees you 2 spots in the garage. You can claim at any time.
You know what's really interesting to me is the fact that the variety of cars, it's not all supercars. Yeah. Some of them are like old race cars or track cars.
Yeah.
Some of them seem to be just normal, everyday, daily drivers.
Yeah, and that's part of like where we're just saying, as long as you want to pay to store it, we're more than happy to take it in. I mean, I know I've got my certain type of car that I'm into. I've got a GR86 that I plan on tracking, but someone's dream car might be an old Saab, and that's totally fine by us. You want to bring it in and work on it, we're happy to share the love, share the passion for the industry. It's community over cars. That's really what we're about here.
So what is the Hoonigan Warthog doing here? This is like the Halo Warthog.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a dream come true for me. I mean, I watched the whole build process on YouTube as it came out, sort of like a pinch yourself moment now that I get to help look after the car. We have one of Microsoft's advertising executives as a member here, and we were just chatting with him one day and said, hey, where are you guys keeping that, by the way? He said, I think it's actually in one of our basements. So we're like, we're already paying for the membership here. Why don't you come and put it on display? That way we can actually show it off to the public and let them interact with the car a little bit more than they otherwise would be.
Wait, so Microsoft has a account here, or they have a membership here? As a corporation, they have a...
Basically, yeah, it's sort of a business account. I mean, I know that the executive himself is sort of like the main person on the account. He's really the only one that comes down. But we've got like 13 other people on file that if they wanted to come in, either show their friends around, hang out, work on a car, they're more than welcome to do so.
That's really neat. So then that's just sitting here as a storage vehicle. What's going on with this Moose head?
Yeah, so that's one of the older vehicles that we have here. This is actually Macklemore's Moose motorcycle from his thrift shop music video. It's kind of the bike that launched his career as a musician, or at least helped launch it. I shouldn't say it's responsible for all of it. But I believe this is actually the bike he took his license test on in high school. And when he was shooting the video, he's like, well, I can't really rent a Harley, so I might as well just cover up the Honda logo with the moose hide and then ride it around downtown. Still comes for it every now and then, although it's just not so much fun to drive a bike with about 50 pounds of antler and moose head on the handlebars.
This is hilarious. Yeah. This is gonna be so bad for drag.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's why he really only rides it around downtown. I mean, past 25 miles an hour, I'm not sure how well the aerodynamics of moose antlers really work out.
So then let's kind of walk down here. Again, full on, like Ferrari Challenge race car, parked next to a Bentley, parked next to, I don't even know what this.
I didn't know what it was before I came here either. It's a Mercury Cyclone spoiler. So this thing, I mean, honestly, I don't know too much about it, but I gotta say it's one of the most interesting front grills I've ever seen on one of these vehicles.
God, it looks like a huge, like a speaker or something.
Yeah, it's like a jet turbine almost. It's like, but it's on the wrong end of the car. But this Charger right here, this is the one that actually started the entire business. This is owned by our owner. Basically, this whole place was thought up while he was working underneath this car. He wanted to have a place where he could come to work on the car, have all the tools ready for him, but more importantly, have someone on staff available to show him the next steps when he gets to a point where he doesn't know what to do.
It really is incredible, and it really is amazing to me, the variety of cars. I have to say, it is literally everything. And you know what's really cool about a storage place like this?
Yeah.
They all have some sort of story, and they're all cool. Like, these are all enthusiast cars.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, it's sort of, you probably saw it on our door out there, but it is, every car has a story. I mean, everyone who brings a vehicle into here, no matter what it is, even if it's a base model Civic from 2007, no hate to anyone who owns one of those, but it's just, even those people who bring them in have a story behind it. It might just be that they need a little bit extra space in their driveway, but hey, they're still passionate about the car enough to want to keep it somewhere where it's going to be kept safe.
Do you think there's a world where you would put stackers in the middle here? Or is it just too many stackers at that point?
So one of the things that we also do here is facility event rental. So I think we actually have one of the local high schools here that's going to be doing their dance here in the middle of the floor. We actually clear out all of these vehicles in the middle aisles. We still keep the ones on the sides. We set up gates to make, or fences to make sure no one climbs over them or interacts with the cars. But we'll have a DJ booth underneath this ring light right here. And I think we've had 2 so far, but we're going to have a 3rd one happening this fall.
That's so cool. Like, these become part of the decoration here.
Yeah. We also do an annual Halloween rave where we've had fire dancers, multiple DJ booths, a little bit of everything.
So then over here is the barber shop.
Yeah.
They have a great view. So is that independent?
So it is, yeah. We basically have that area. I mean, I know that we've built the cigar humidor there, so it's kind of more of a permanent mainstay, but the barber shop, we've had a couple of different shops in there. I think at one point it was a tattoo shop, but right now we've got Emerald City Barber, and they're great partners with us. I mean, all their customers love coming in. In fact, the barber working right now, has her car out in the lot right now for the show. I mean, she's planning to stay here until midnight tonight after she finishes working.
Cool 6x6.
The guy who actually owns this, he traded in a Carrera GT to get this thing.
Oh, I would have kept the Carrera GT, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, I gotta say, he actually drives this car a lot more, which, you know, as cool as it is to see one of those in here, it's happy to see that it's now owned by somebody who's gonna be driving it a bit more. This one, he got it, and I mean, I think a month after he bought it, he took it down to the Baja in Mexico and just followed in the tire tracks of everybody after the competition fitted.
So this is more a traditional, this area especially, seems like it's more of a traditional car storage facility area. A lot of supercars, hypercars, GT cars.
I don't know what it is about Seattle, but we don't seem to have too many Lamborghinis, but we got tons of Ferraris. I mean, I say that, but we got 2 Gallardos right here. And I mean, it's just, it kind of gets to a point where you can walk past Ferraris and Lamborghinis every day and you're like, hey, I get it. You got a lot of money. You bought a really cool car. I would love to own one. But then you get something like this BMW 2002 in here, and that's easily the car I would take home with me. So this one's had complete do-over. Basically everything on the inside is brand new seats, carpets, door panels, dashboards, and the engine is now supercharged, running on methanol, making around 400 to 500 horsepower.
This is something I've never seen before. A Panos.
Yeah, it's a Panos Roadster. Came out in '99 around the same time as the PT Cruiser and the Plymouth Prowler. So this thing is sort of that retro futuristic look that was all the craze right then.
What an ugly car, but it's so cool. I mean, I would totally drive this.
Yeah, I mean, I would drive it if I fit inside. I gotta say, there's less room than an NA Miata to squeeze yourself into this.
It's that small, huh?
Very, very tiny, and there's only door handles on the inside of the door, so it's a bit awkward to get in and out no matter how you try.
Look at the gauges, they're on the right. That is so weird.
And I think it was like the first mass-produced American car with an aluminum frame or something along those lines. But then again, they say mass-produced, but I've never seen another one of these in my life.
First time I've ever seen one of these. Look at this Bonneville. Do you have to charge them extra because it's taking up room for 2 cars?
Basically, the way we decide whether a vehicle's oversized or not is height based. So if it doesn't fit underneath our lift, then we consider it oversized. But this one, you know, it's definitely skirting the line, but we found a nice spot for it. And luckily, it looks really good. So it's nice to have it front and center on display.
It looks so good. All right, so then this is another storage area on this side. So this is non-heated.
Yes.
Okay.
The difference is the membership. It actually costs the same to store your car in either of these garages, but the difference comes in the membership payments. So this one is a bit more expensive, this one's a bit cheaper or more affordable, and that's why you get it. I think it's my favorite between the 2 garages. I mean, you get a much wider variety of vehicles in this garage.
Yeah, like this Iron Pig here, super cool.
Yeah, this one's getting a lot of work done with our fabricator as well. This is another guy who's been here since we first opened up. He's got probably a dozen cars that he just cycles through here every now and then.
That many? So you have some customers here that just have their whole fleet here.
I think our current owner with the most vehicles in here, he has 8, and he basically has a muscle car for every member of his family. So they'll all come down in like one, I think like a GMC Denali, and then everyone will get in their own like Camaro, Mustang, whatever it may be, and then they drive off for the weekend and have a good time.
Pretty cool Z, old school race car.
Yeah, that's
looks like a SCCA.
Yeah, it's like an old race car that basically, we have 2 members here, or a member who's about 18 years old, so his parents are helping with the membership cost here, but he's got this project car between him and his buddy where they actually took it down because we're the ones who transported it here from where they bought it. And he was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go get our new track car. The owner says all we have to do is replace the battery and it'll be fully running and driving. And then they showed up, got it unloaded, and then they put the new battery in and it actually started right up. It's one of the only times I've seen that actually work out in their favor where they were just...
I was thinking you were gonna say, oh, it needed a new engine, needed a new this. Yeah. But then, so I'm actually really sad that nothing like this existed when I was getting into cars. No, because this makes so much financial sense to have access to a lift anytime, right? You could book it. If it's not booked, and right now, it seems like pretty much most of them are free.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, as long as you plan your time out, I mean, you go more than 2 days in advance on the schedule, it's basically open. So we got plenty of time available for people to come in and work on their stuff.
It also makes me really happy that the culture and the community here in the Seattle area can support a business like this and then some. Because you guys are kind of bursting at the seams.
A little bit. I mean, I know that we've got plans to expand to more locations out of state, but in state, this is basically, I mean, especially downtown Seattle, there's not much property to go around. So the fact that we got sort of lucky enough to have this gigantic building right next door to the one that's already halfway connected to it, it just really worked out in our favor. I know that that's one of the owner's crowning achievements is that he's just very good at finding this property, and that's what sort of helped us sustain this business as long as we have and as long as we are going to in the future.
So many different types of cars. Okay, so this area, it seems like you're stacking a lot more cars. It's too deep in terms of the stackers. But then there's also another part of the warehouse here. What's going on with that?
So that is not owned by us. We're actually renting out this space, but that's a tennis training facility over there. That's why we have all the netting set up to make sure no balls come flying over. Really, the biggest downside it presents is that some of the dust over near the wall, it's kind of a neon green color. But other than that, works out very well. I think we've probably startled quite a few people cold starting a V8 in the middle of their tennis practice. Other than that, though, it seems to work out very well.
I'm sure they appreciate the smell that lingers over.
Well, that's one of the things is that as we get more and more electrified, I mean, places like this are going to become more and more important because it's going to be one of the few places you can come to smell burning oil in the air, gasoline, whatever it may be. I mean, I'm sure that there's an electric car out there that's perfect for me, but I know that right now I'm super happy with gas-powered cars, and I don't really want to make a change.
I have a feeling next time I come here, you guys are going to have that spot too, because you're probably out of, I mean, it may only make sense to expand the shop. You have a Pajero Evo up there, Mark IV Supra, a lot of pedestrian cars. That's what I think is so neat about this place. But Seattle in general, the metropolitan area, yeah, there's not that much parking, right, if you're in the city, but just outside surrounding it, there's plenty of land, but it still makes sense for you to store your car here if you just only have whatever, like a 2-car garage?
Most of our competition is generally parking garages downtown. I mean, when people want to come and, go into the office, but they want to pick up their car along the way, that's why this location is so important for us, because we've got people who say, hey, well, I've got my Mercedes for going to and from court Monday through Friday, but then I've got my lifted K5 Blazer that I want to take out on the weekend. So that's what we're here for.
So are you pretty close to most of the members? Are you, your interaction with them?
I would say, me specifically, yes, because I'm working at the front desk, so I'm the person that hands them their keys when they want to come pick up their car. I'm the person that, if they have a complaint, they bring it to me. Of course, that's not to discount the work of all the other employees here, but it just seems to be that because I'm interacting with them, I get all the good and all the bad of our customers, whether it's just because, they've had a bit of a crappy day and they just want their car and they want to go, or, we're the people that also set up surprises like that Bonneville you were talking about earlier. That was actually a late Father's Day present. So they had basically tracked down the original car that he sold when he had just had his kids. The granddaughter located the car, and he thought it was a pile of parts waiting to get primered and sent off to paint. And then it turns out the vehicle was already finished and reassembled. So they basically had it waiting in the wash bay with his entire family, brought him down for lunch, and then pulled him into the garage and just surprised him with this car. And that's one of my favorite parts about working here, because as cool as it is to see these, Ferraris and Lamborghinis, it also is cool to see families reunited with pieces of their own history.
I love it. I love it. It doesn't matter if it's a Ferrari or a Porsche or a whatever. I think that's great that you could just store it here. This place is tall enough to do triple stackers, but I can only imagine it's already pretty difficult to get cars out.
Like I said, it's an hour maximum. Of course, that doesn't count if there's any, dead cars sitting in the way, because you'd be surprised how many people own a priceless carbureted car and don't realize you have to drive it more than once every couple of years. And so we'll have someone who comes in and is like, oh, I want to drive my Mustang out. And it's like, well, everything in your gas tank's jelly. Of course, you can also pay us to, take your vehicle out for regular maintenance drives, keep up on that sort of thing. But I just found that some people don't, and then they're surprised when their car just isn't working anymore. These are the most unique ones we have in the collection. They're both one of one, as you may be able to tell, but they're the Seattle Seafair Clowns. They've been longtime members here. In fact, with Seafair Week just getting done, these vehicles were out of the garage for quite a bit. But it also means that during Seafair Week in the evening after a hard day of parading, our bar is usually full of clowns in full makeup and costume. So there is that. And speaking from experience, after a drink or two, they will make you a balloon animal whether you want them to or not.
Let's talk about prices.
Yeah.
What are we talking about getting in here?
So basically, to get your foot in the door, we have a social membership available. We really basically created that just because we have so many guys who come in and are like, hey, I just wanted to smoke a cigar and order a cocktail. I don't really care about the cars. I just wanted to hang out and enjoy the community. That is about $150 a month, $100 a month with a $500 enrollment. But the baseline to get full access and be able to do everything that a gearhead would want to do, that's a $1,000 enrollment and then $150 a month. Each spot in the garage is an additional $350 on top of that $150. So basically, if you wanted to have a membership in a car in our garage, it'd be $500 a month once you get past the enrollment fee. It's definitely the most popular option by far. The only option above that is the Founders, and that's what guarantees your car gets kept in the other garage, nice and heated and visible from the bar.
$500 a month. That's actually a steal to try to find a parking spot. Yeah, in the city.
Like I said, those garages downtown don't come cheap. It's like $350 to $400 a month, and for the extra $100 a month, you get a full service department 50 yards away from where your car is parked. You get added security. We've got motion sensors everywhere, so even if a squirrel gets into the building overnight, we have the alarm go off and the police get sent in.
What's going on with this bus?
Yeah, so this is one of the rare cars in our collection. This is a Volkswagen bus from the late 50s, early 60s. I can never remember the exact year. But basically, the reason it's so rare is from the weird shaped roof that it has. That's a fully functional boat. All you have to do is lift it up off the top, flip it over, and drop it in the water. And they were all really rare because they only built 100 of them, and they were never built by Volkswagen themselves. They were all built by one guy down in Oregon who had retired from the Air Force and took up boat building as his pastime. He was an aerodynamicist. He realized it was more fuel efficient to have it upside down on the roof rather than towed on a trailer behind the car. It also means you get around trailer speed limits, although the top speed of this thing is maybe 55. So don't save yourself time, but you do save yourself money on gas. You take the boat off the top, throw it in the water. How are you getting around? It does come with wooden paddles on the inside, but if you're feeling lazy, in the back where you're you'd normally find a spare tire, there's actually an outboard motor for the boat. So you've got 2 vehicles in one. Middle row's a picnic table. The boat actually covers up a Westfalia pop-up tent built into the roof. It's basically a mobile apartment with a boat attached to it, and it was sort of like an overlander before overlanders were even a thing. The pride and joy of the member who owns it, he's actually a Volkswagen collector, and there's only about a dozen of them left in the world, and this is easily the one in the best condition. That's the original paint, original wheels, and even original tires that the vehicle was sold with.
That is the coolest vehicle here. I cannot believe.
Yeah, and all that
It's a
combined.
upside down boat. So then it must take like 4 people at least to remove the boat.
Well, that's what you think. I mean, it is fiberglass, so it's actually pretty light. I believe it's meant so that 2 people can do it themselves, like 2 grown men, however you want to put it. But I think there's also a way that you can buy like a system of pulleys and winches that allow you to do it with just 1 person. But the photos I've seen of it, like halfway off the boat, I'm just like, that looks way too complicated. I'd much rather just have a friend help me out with it.
What a vehicle. I've never heard of this before. I've never seen anything. When you said it turns into a boat, I thought it flips upside down and floats upside down.
Only the people that are really around boats, and then they recognize the little tie-offs on the front of it. They're like, oh, well, that's a boat, obviously. I'm like, oh, you ruined the surprise for everyone else in the group. Come on, man. But no, other than that, I mean, it's fantastic. It's also, I mean, just as good looking on the inside as is the outside. It's basically brand new.
Well, thank you so much for the tour. This place is so cool. Definitely wish something like this existed in LA. Looking forward to the meet. The next video you guys will see will be from the meet, all the cars coming here. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course, no problem, man.